The champagne was already open when my phone buzzed the second time. I was standing in the middle of my new office, watching my business partner arrange the catering table, watching people I'd invited fill the space I'd spent 6 months building. The storefront still smelled like fresh paint. The sign outside said, Hartley Consulting in clean black letters. My last name. My business. The first text from Dad came an hour earlier, running a little late, stuck at the shop. I'd read it standing at the window, watching cars pull into the parking lot, watching everyone except him arrive. I told myself it was fine. Traffic, a last-minute customer, he'd make it. Then the second text. I was holding a glass someone had just handed me when my phone lit up again. I read it once. Then again, because surely I'd misunderstood. At Ryan's poker thing, got the nights mixed up. Proud of you, kiddo. The room didn't stop. People were still talking, still laughing. My business partner, Jenna, was telling someone about our first client win. The woman from the Chamber of Commerce was asking about my background. Everything kept moving. I stood there with my phone in one hand and champagne in the other, and I felt something crack open in my chest that I'd been keeping closed for a very long time. He got the nights mixed up. I'd sent him the invitation 3 weeks ago. I'd called him last Sunday to confirm. I'd texted him yesterday morning with the address and the time. 7 p.m., Dad, my launch party. The thing I've been working toward for 2 years. And he was at Ryan's poker night. Not a work emergency, not a crisis. Poker. I looked down at my phone again, at the words, proud of you, kiddo, and I wanted to throw it across the room. I wanted to call him and ask him how exactly he'd gotten the nights mixed up when I'd reminded him 4 times. I wanted to ask him if he'd even looked at the invitation or if he'd just assumed this was something he could miss because I'd understand. Because I always understood, because I was Madeline and Madeline didn't make a fuss. Instead, I locked my phone. I slipped it into my pocket. I smiled at the woman from the Chamber of Commerce and answered her question about my background. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Jenna caught my eye from across the room and grinned, holding up her glass. I raised mine back. She looked so happy. She'd believed in this business when it was just an idea I was pitching over coffee. She'd quit her corporate job to build this with me. Tonight was supposed to be the celebration of all of that. I wasn't going to ruin it by telling her my father chose my brother's poker game instead. Someone asked me to say a few words. I hadn't planned a speech. I thought maybe Dad would say something, or at least be here to stand next to me while I thanked everyone for coming. I'd pictured him in the back of the room, arms crossed, smiling that quiet smile he got when he was proud, but didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I stood in front of the group, and I said thank you. I said something about taking risks and building something that mattered. I said I couldn't have done it without the people in this room. I didn't say that the person I most wanted in this room wasn't here. I didn't say that he was 20 minutes away, sitting at a card table with my brother and a bunch of guys from Ryan's gym, drinking beer and laughing about something that had nothing to do with me. The applause was warm. People came up afterward to shake my hand, to tell me they were excited to see where the business would go. I smiled until my face hurt. Jenna pulled me aside near the end of the night. "You okay? You seem a little off." I almost told her. But then I looked around at the office we'd built, at the people who'd shown up, and I realized that telling her would make it real. It would make it something I had to deal with right now, tonight, when I was supposed to be celebrating. So I lied. "Just overwhelmed," I said. "Good overwhelmed." She squeezed my arm. "You did it, Madeline. This is real." It was real. I had done it. I'd saved for 2 years, written a business plan, found clients, convinced Jenna to take the leap with me. I'd signed the lease on this office 3 months ago, and I'd painted the walls myself because I couldn't afford to hire it out. I'd built something from nothing, and my father was playing poker. The last guest left a little after 9. Jenna stayed to help me clean up, but I told her to go home. She had an early meeting. I'd handle it. When the door finally closed behind her, I stood alone in the quiet office and let myself feel it. He wasn't coming. I'd known that the moment I read the text, but some part of me had been waiting anyway. Some part of me had thought maybe he'd realize, maybe he'd leave early, maybe he'd show up at the end and apologize and it would be fine. But it was after 9 now, and my phone hadn't buzzed again. I sat down in one of the chairs we'd rented for the event. The champagne bottles were empty. The catering trays were mostly cleared. The office looked exactly like I'd imagined it would, except for the one chair I'd saved in the front row, the one I'd set aside for him. It was still empty. I pulled out my phone and stared at his text again. "Proud of you, kiddo." The thing that made it worse was that he probably meant it. He probably was proud in the abstract way you're proud of someone when you hear they did something good. He just wasn't proud enough to show up. I opened Instagram. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted proof that I wasn't overreacting, that this was really happening. Ryan's story was right at the top. It was a photo of the poker table, cards spread out, chips stacked in the middle, beer bottles sweating on the felt. And there, in the background, slightly out of focus but unmistakable, was my father. He was laughing at something someone had said. He looked relaxed, happy. The caption said, "Old man finally made it, like it was some big accomplishment that Dad had shown up to poker night. Like Ryan had been waiting and hoping and Dad had come through." I locked my phone and set it face down on the table. I sat there in my empty office, in the space I'd built, surrounded by the evidence of everything I'd accomplished, and I felt more invisible than I'd ever felt in my life. I learned a long time ago that being good at things makes you useful, not special. I was 12 the first time Dad asked me to help with his books. He ran a small construction business, just him and a rotating crew of 3 or 4 guys. He was good at the work, but terrible at the paperwork. Mom had been handling it, but she'd gone back to school that year and didn't have time anymore. So he asked me. I was good at math. I liked the way numbers made sense, the way they always added up if you did them right. I sat at the kitchen table after school and entered invoices into the system Dad had been ignoring for 2 months. It took me a week, but I got it done. He thanked me. He said I'd saved him. Then he went back to work, and I went back to school, and that was that, until the next time he needed help. Ryan was 9 then. He was the kind of kid who made adults nervous because he didn't sit still, and he didn't follow instructions, and he was always getting into something he wasn't supposed to. Mom and Dad spent a lot of energy managing him, making sure he didn't fall too far behind in school, making sure he showed up to things, making sure he didn't get himself into real trouble. I didn't need managing. I did my homework without being asked. I showed up on time. I got good grades. I helped with the books when Dad needed it, and I babysat Ryan when Mom had class, and I didn't complain because I understood that Ryan needed more attention. I told myself it was fine. I told myself it didn't matter that they went to all of Ryan's basketball games, but missed half of my debate tournaments because someone had to stay home with him when he got suspended. I told myself it made sense that they celebrated when Ryan got a B in math like he'd cured cancer, while my straight A report cards got a glance and a nod. Ryan needed the encouragement. I didn't. That's what I told myself. The pattern continued. High school, college, my 20s. I was the one they called when they needed something fixed. Ryan was the one they called to check if he was okay. When I was 23, Dad's business hit a rough patch. His accountant quit without notice right before tax season. Dad called me in a panic. I was working full-time at a consulting firm by then, but I took a week off and straightened out his books. I filed his taxes. I set up a new system that even he could maintain. He paid me, which somehow made it worse. Like I was just another contractor, not his daughter. That same year, Ryan got evicted from his apartment because he'd spent his rent money on a motorcycle. Mom called me crying. They didn't have the cash to cover his deposit on a new place. Their credit was maxed out from helping him before. I co-signed his lease. I had been saving for a down payment on a condo. I'd been so careful with my money, putting away a little every month, building towards something that was mine. But Ryan needed help, and I was the one who could give it. He lived in that apartment for 2 years. He never missed rent again, which I was grateful for because it would have wrecked my credit. But he also never thanked me. Not really. It was just something I'd done, something the family had needed, and I'd come through because that's what I did. When I told Dad I was leaving my corporate job to start my own business, he looked worried. That's a big risk, Maddie. I'd been planning it for a year. I had clients lined up. I had a business plan that I'd stress tested from every angle. I had enough savings to cover 6 months of expenses. I know what I'm doing, I said. He nodded, but I could see the doubt. If you need help, you know you can always come back to the firm. He didn't say good luck. He didn't say he believed in me. He said I could always go back. 2 months later, Ryan told the family he was thinking about starting a landscaping business. He had no plan, no clients, no savings. He just thought it sounded better than working for someone else. Dad lit up. That's great, son. You've always been good with your hands. I can help you get started, introduce you to some suppliers. Mom started researching business licenses that same night. I sat at the family dinner table and watched them rally around Ryan's half-formed idea, and I felt something harden in my chest. They didn't believe in me when I had a plan, but they believed in Ryan when he had a daydream. Ryan never started the landscaping business. He got distracted by something else a month later, some buddy's plan to flip houses. That didn't happen either. He was still working at the gym, training clients, talking about his next big move. And I was building my business. Slowly, carefully. I landed my first client 4 months after I left the firm, then another, then 3 more. Jenna came on board after I'd been running solo for 8 months. We signed the lease on the office 3 months ago. I told my parents about the office the day I signed the lease. Mom said that was wonderful. Dad said to make sure I read the fine print. I told them about the launch party 3 weeks ago. I sent them an invitation with the date and time printed in bold. I called Dad the Sunday before to confirm. I'll be there, he said. Wouldn't miss it. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. The night before the launch, Mom called. She wanted to know if it was okay if they didn't stay long because Dad had an early job the next morning. Of course, I said. I'm just glad you're coming. She said they were proud of me. She said it was a big accomplishment. She said all the right things. But when I hung up, I realized she hadn't asked a single question about the business. She hadn't asked what kind of consulting I did, or who my clients were, or what I was most excited about. She just said the things you say when someone tells you good news. I told myself I was being unfair. I told myself they were busy. I told myself it didn't matter as long as they showed up. And then Dad didn't show up. He went to Ryan's poker night instead. Sitting alone in my office after everyone had left, I finally let myself admit the truth I'd been avoiding for years. They didn't see me. They saw what I could do for them. They saw my competence, my reliability, my willingness to help. But they didn't see me. And I had let it happen. I had made myself so useful, so capable, so easy that they'd stop thinking they needed to show up for me at all. I stayed in the office until almost 11. I told myself I was cleaning up, but really I was just sitting there, staring at my phone, waiting for something that wasn't going to come. An apology, an explanation that made sense, anything that acknowledged what he'd done. Nothing came. I finally locked up and drove home. My apartment was dark and quiet. I dropped my keys on the counter and stood in my kitchen, still wearing the dress I'd bought specifically for tonight, and I felt exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with the party. I wanted to call someone. I wanted to talk to someone who would understand why this hurt so much. But it was late, and everyone who would have understood had already been at the party. They'd already congratulated me. I couldn't call them now and say, actually, the whole night was ruined because my dad didn't show up. It would sound childish, petty. So I didn't call anyone. I changed into sweatpants and sat on my couch with my phone in my hand, and I did the thing I knew I shouldn't do. I opened Instagram again. Ryan had posted more since I'd last looked. 3 more stories. The first was a video of someone dealing cards, everyone laughing in the background. The second was a close-up of his hand, a full house, caption, "Let's go." The third was the one that made my stomach turn. It was a photo of Ryan and Dad, arms around each other's shoulders, both of them grinning at the camera. Dad's face was flush the way it got when he'd had a couple of beers. He looked happy, relaxed. The caption said, "Best wingman." I stared at that photo for a long time. He looked happier there, at Ryan's poker game, than I could ever remember him looking at anything of mine. I thought about all the times I'd invited him to things. My college graduation, where he'd shown up but left early because he had a job the next morning. My promotion dinner, where he'd spent half the meal on his phone dealing with a work crisis. The time I'd won a regional award for a consulting project, and I'd invited them to the ceremony, and Mom had come, but Dad had been too busy. And then I thought about Ryan's things. His high school graduation, where Dad had taken the whole day off. His 30th birthday party, where Dad had given a speech about how proud he was. The time Ryan had finished a half marathon, and Dad had been at the finish line with a sign. Ryan didn't even train for that half marathon. He'd decided to do it 2 weeks before and just showed up. And Dad had been there, cheering like it was the Olympics. I'd spent 2 years building a business from nothing, and Dad couldn't skip poker night. I locked my phone and set it face down on the coffee table, but I could still see the image burned into my mind. Dad's arm around Ryan's shoulders. That smile. My phone buzzed. For a second, my heart jumped. Maybe it was Dad. Maybe he'd realized. Maybe he was calling to apologize. I grabbed the phone. It was Jenna. "You sure you're okay? You seemed off tonight." I stared at the message. I could tell her. I could say my dad didn't show up and I'm not okay, and I don't know how to stop feeling like this. Instead, I typed, "I'm good, just tired. Thank you for everything tonight." She sent back a heart emoji. I set the phone down and pulled a blanket over myself. I didn't turn on the TV. I just sat there in the dark, feeling the weight of something I'd been carrying for so long I'd forgotten it was there. I fell asleep on the couch sometime after midnight. When I woke up, my phone was ringing. I grabbed it without looking, still half asleep, thinking maybe it was Dad finally calling to explain. It was Mom. "Madeline, honey, are you awake?" I sat up groggy. The light coming through my window was pale and gray. Early morning. I checked the time. 6:53. "I am now. What's wrong?" "It's your father. He's got a situation at work and he needs your help." I was still waking up, still processing. What kind of situation? His accountant quit, just walked out yesterday, didn't give notice. And payroll is due today, and he doesn't know how to process it. You know his system. You've done it before. I was fully awake now. "He needs you to come to the shop this morning, as soon as you can. He's got 6 guys on the crew, and if he doesn't make payroll by noon, they're going to walk. You know how tight things are right now. I sat there on my couch, phone pressed to my ear, and I felt something cold settle in my chest. Madeline, are you there? I'm here. Can you come? I know it's early, but this is important. He's really in a bind. I looked down at my phone. At the time, 7 a.m., less than 12 hours since I'd stood in my office, reading Dad's text about how he'd gotten the nights mixed up. Did he ask you to call me? There was a pause. He's already at the shop. He's been there since 5 trying to figure it out himself. I told him I'd call you. Did he mention last night? Another pause, longer this time. Mention what? My launch party, the one he missed. I heard her take a breath. Honey, I know you're upset about that, but this is an emergency. We can talk about last night later. Right now, your father needs help. I stood up. I walked to my kitchen. I turned on the coffee maker because I needed something to do with my hands. Madeline? I heard you. So, you'll come? I watched the coffee start to drip into the pot. I thought about Dad at the poker table, arm around Ryan, smiling. I thought about the empty chair at my launch party. I thought about every time I dropped everything to help, and every time they'd assumed I would. I have client meetings today. Can't you reschedule? This is your father's business. He could lose his crew. And this is my business, Mom. The one I launched last night. The one Dad missed because he was playing poker. He made a mistake, Madeline. He feels terrible about it. Does he? Of course he does. Then why hasn't he called me? Silence. He's overwhelmed right now, honey. He's trying to keep his business from falling apart. You know how he gets when he's stressed. I poured coffee into a mug. My hands were steady. I felt calm in a way that surprised me. I can't help him today. Madeline. I have 3 client meetings scheduled. I can't cancel them. This is family. So was last night. I heard her sharp intake of breath. That's not fair. Isn't it? Your father made a mistake. He got his schedule mixed up. It happens. But this is serious. This is his livelihood. You're really going to hold a grudge over a party when his business is on the line? I took a sip of coffee. It burned my tongue. I'm not holding a grudge. I'm telling you I can't help today. I have work. Madeline, please, he needs you. 3 words I'd heard my entire life. He needs you. She needs you. Ryan needs you. Never. We see you. We're proud of you. We wouldn't miss this for the world. Always. We need you. I'm sorry, Mom. I can't. I hung up before she could say anything else. My phone immediately started ringing again. I silenced it. I stood in my kitchen, holding my coffee, watching my phone light up with another call, then another, then a text from Mom, then a call from Dad's number. I didn't answer any of them. I got dressed for work. I did my makeup. I made toast I didn't eat. My phone kept buzzing. By the time I left for my first meeting, I had 11 missed calls and 4 voicemails. I didn't listen to them. I drove to my office and I unlocked the door and I sat at my desk, and for the first time in my life, I didn't show up when my family needed me. My first meeting was at 9. A potential client I'd been courting for weeks. I walked her through my proposal, answered her questions, and she signed. After she left, I sat at my desk staring at the signed contract. I should have felt good, but all I could think about was my phone. I pulled it out. 15 missed calls now, 6 voicemails, a dozen texts. I opened the texts. Mom, please call me back. Mom, your father is really struggling. He needs help. Mom, I don't understand why you're being like this. Ryan, Mom said you won't help Dad. What's going on? Ryan, seriously, Maddie, call me. Dad, Madeline, I need you to call me. This is urgent. I stared at that last one, the first direct message from him since the text last night about poker. Not, I'm sorry I missed your party. Not, I made a terrible mistake. Just, I need you. I set the phone down. Jenna came in around 10. She had her laptop bag over her shoulder and 2 coffees in her hands. She set one on my desk. You look like you need this. I took the coffee. Thank you. She sat down across from me. Patricia signed? She did. That's amazing. Why don't you look happy? I wrapped my hands around the coffee cup. It was warm, solid, real. Family stuff, I said. Jenna waited. She was good at that. She didn't push, but she made space for me to talk if I wanted to. I wanted to. My dad didn't come to the party last night. Her face changed. What? He went to my brother's poker night instead. Said he got the nights mixed up. Madeline. And this morning my mom called. His accountant quit and he needs help with payroll, and she wanted me to drop everything and go fix it for him. Please tell me you said no. I looked at her. I said no. Good. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since. Jenna leaned back in her chair. Let me guess, they're making you feel guilty. My mom said I'm holding a grudge over a party while his business is on the line. It wasn't just a party. I know that. Does she? I didn't answer. Jenna leaned forward. You've been fixing their problems for so long they forgot you're allowed to have your own life. I felt something tighten in my throat. Saying no is the best thing you could have done, she continued. Not just for you, for them too. It doesn't feel good. Boundaries never do at first. My phone buzzed again. We both looked at it. You don't have to answer, Jenna said. I know. But I picked it up anyway. It was Ryan. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Maybe I wanted to hear what he'd say. Maybe I wanted him to surprise me. What, Ryan? Finally, I've been calling you all morning. I've been working. Mom said you won't help Dad. That's right. Why not? I stood up and walked to the window. Jenna quietly left the room. Because I have my own work to do. This is an emergency, Maddie. He's going to lose his crew. That's not my problem. Silence. Then, what's gotten into you? Did Dad tell you why I'm upset? He missed your party. He feels bad. He missed my launch party, Ryan. 2 years of work. He chose your poker night instead. He got the nights mixed up. I reminded him 4 times. Okay, so he screwed up. But you're really going to let his business fall apart? I have my own business to run. You could reschedule. Why should I? Because he needs help. And I needed him last night. Where was he? It's not the same thing. Why not? Because this is serious. Your thing was just a party. There it was. Right, I said. Just a party. Come on, you know his system. You could fix this in 2 hours. Then you do it. I don't know how. Learn. Maddie, I hung up. Jenna came back in. You okay? He called it just a party. He's never been the one who had to show up for everyone else. I turned to look at her. Do you think I'm being selfish? No. What if his business really does fall apart? Then he'll figure it out. He ran that business before you were born. I wanted to believe her, but all I felt was guilty. My phone rang again. Dad's number. I answered. Madeline. His voice was tight. I've been trying to reach you all morning. I've been in meetings. I need you to come to the shop. I'm in over my head. I've got guys asking when they're getting paid. Did you call the accountant who did it before me? She's retired. What about Ryan? Silence. Ryan doesn't know how to do this, he said finally. Neither did I the first time. I figured it out. I don't have time for this. I need help now. and I needed you last night. Silence. Then, I know, I screwed up. I'm sorry. But can we deal with that later? Right now, I need you to... No. The word came out harder than I meant it to, but I didn't take it back. What? No, Dad. I can't help you today. Can't or won't. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. If you can't, that's one thing. But if you're just refusing because you're mad at me, I'm not refusing because I'm mad. I'm refusing because I have my own work to do. Work that matters. Work that I've been building while you were playing poker. I heard him take a sharp breath. That's not fair, isn't it? I said I was sorry. No, you didn't. You said you screwed up. That's not the same thing. Fine, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed your party. Is that what you want to hear? I don't want to hear anything, Dad. I want you to figure out your payroll problem without me. Madeline, I have to go. I hung up. I set the phone down, and I put my head in my hands, and I tried to breathe through the tightness in my chest. Jenna didn't say anything. She just sat with me. After a minute, I looked up. I just hung up on my father. You set a boundary. It feels the same. It's not. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Your father is very hurt. I hope you're happy. I showed it to Jenna. She read it and shook her head. Emotional manipulation. Classic. What do I do? Nothing. You do nothing. You let them sit with this. You let them figure it out. And if they don't, then you'll know where you stand. I looked at my phone, at all the missed calls, at all the messages telling me I was wrong, I was selfish, I was hurting people. And I thought about last night, about the empty chair, about Dad's arm around Ryan's shoulders, about the words, just a party. I turned my phone face down on the desk. Okay, I said, okay? I'm not answering, not today. Jenna smiled. Good. My phone buzzed 3 more times in the next hour. I didn't look. The word came out harder than I meant it to, but I didn't take it back. What? No, Dad, I can't help you today. Can't or won't. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. If you can't, that's one thing. But if you're just refusing because you're mad at me, I'm not refusing because I'm mad. I'm refusing because I have my own work to do. Work that matters. Work that I've been building while you were playing poker. I heard him take a sharp breath. That's not fair, isn't it? I said I was sorry. No, you didn't. You said you screwed up. That's not the same thing. Fine, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I missed your party. Is that what you want to hear? I don't want to hear anything, Dad. I want you to figure out your payroll problem without me. Madeline. I hung up. I set the phone down, and I put my head in my hands, and I tried to breathe through the tightness in my chest. Jenna sat with me. She didn't say anything. She just stayed. After a minute, I looked up. I just hung up on my father. You set a boundary. It feels the same. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Your father is very hurt. I hope you're happy. I stared at those words. I hope you're happy. Like I was doing this for fun. Like I was enjoying watching Dad struggle. Like this was some petty revenge instead of me finally saying no to something I'd been saying yes to my entire life. I set the phone face down. I'm going to make some tea, Jenna said. You want some? I nodded. She left. I sat alone in my office, in the space I'd built, and I let myself think about what I'd just done. I'd said no to my father. I'd hung up on him while he was asking for help. I'd chosen my business over his. And the thing that scared me most was that I didn't regret it. I was angry. I was hurt. I felt guilty and defensive and exhausted. But I didn't regret it because somewhere in the last 12 hours, something had shifted. I'd spent my whole life being the capable one, the reliable one, the one who showed up when people needed help. And I told myself that was enough, that being needed was the same as being valued. But it wasn't. Being needed meant people called when they had a problem. Being valued meant they showed up when you had something to celebrate. Dad needed me this morning, but he hadn't valued me enough to show up last night. And the worst part was that this wasn't new. This was the pattern. This had always been the pattern. I thought about the time I'd helped him with his taxes. I'd taken a week off work. I'd straightened out years of messy records. I'd saved him thousands of dollars in penalties. And when it was done, he'd thanked me and paid me like I was a contractor he'd hired. 2 months later, Ryan had mentioned he was thinking about getting his contractor's license, and Dad had spent an entire Sunday helping him study. He hadn't asked Ryan to pay him. He'd just done it because Ryan was his son, and that's what fathers do. I thought about co-signing Ryan's lease. I'd put my credit on the line. I'd given up my condo down payment. And no one had asked if I was okay with that. They just assumed I would do it because I could. 3 months later, Ryan had bought a motorcycle. Not a used one. A brand new one, $15,000. And when I'd asked how he'd afforded it, he'd said Dad had co-signed the loan. Dad wouldn't co-sign my business loan. He'd said it was too risky, but he'd co-signed Ryan's motorcycle. I thought about every time I'd been told I was so capable, so independent, so good at handling things on my own, and I'd believed it was a compliment. But it wasn't a compliment. It was an excuse. It was easier to believe I didn't need support than to admit they weren't offering any. It was easier to celebrate Ryan's small wins than to acknowledge my bigger ones. It was easier to call me when they needed something than to show up when I didn't. I'd made it easy for them. I'd been so competent, so reliable, so willing to help that they'd stopped thinking they needed to give anything back. And I'd let it happen because I thought if I was useful enough eventually, they'd see me. But they didn't see me. They saw what I could do for them. Jenna came back with 2 mugs of tea. She set one in front of me and sat down. "You're thinking too much," she said. "I'm thinking the right amount." "What are you thinking about?" I wrapped my hands around the mug. The heat felt good, grounding. "I'm thinking about how I've spent my whole life trying to earn something I should have just had." Jenna nodded slowly. "Yeah. I thought if I was good enough, helpful enough, capable enough, they'd prioritize me the way they prioritize Ryan. But that's not how it works, is it?" "No, it's not. They don't prioritize Ryan because he's better than me. They prioritize him because he demands it. He doesn't make it easy for them to ignore him. And you do." I looked at her. "I do. Not anymore, though." "No, not anymore." My phone buzzed again. I didn't look at it. "How many times have they called?" Jenna asked. I stopped counting. "Good." We sat in silence for a minute. I drank my tea. It was too hot, but I didn't care. "Do you think he'll figure it out?" I asked. "The payroll thing?" "Yes." "How do you know?" "Because he has to. Because you're not there to fix it for him. So he'll find another way." "And if he doesn't?" "Then that's on him, not you." I wanted to believe that. I wanted to feel okay with the possibility that Dad's business might suffer because I wasn't there to help. But I also knew that if it did suffer, they'd blame me. Mom would say I let it happen. Ryan would say I was being petty. Dad would say I chose the wrong time to make a point. They wouldn't say Dad should have shown up last night. They wouldn't say he should have prioritized his daughter's launch over poker. They wouldn't say he'd taken me for granted for so long that I finally stopped showing up. They'd say I was selfish. And maybe I was. Maybe choosing my own business over his made me selfish. But I was tired of being selfless. I was tired of being the one who always bent, the one who always understood, the one who always made it easy for everyone else. I'd built something. I'd worked for 2 years to create a business from nothing. I'd saved and planned and risked everything. And last night was supposed to be the celebration of that. Dad had chosen poker instead. And this morning, he'd called asking for help like last night hadn't happened. Like my hurt didn't matter. Like the only thing that mattered was that he needed me. And I was supposed to show up. I was done showing up, not forever, not as punishment. But for today, I was done. My phone buzzed again. I picked it up. Another text from Mom. He had to pay someone $300 to come in on emergency rates. $300 he doesn't have. I hope you know what you've done. I read it twice. Then I set the phone down. What did she say? Jenna asked. He found someone. He had to pay extra, but he found someone. So he figured it out. He figured it out. Without you. Without me. I felt something loosen in my chest. Relief, maybe, or vindication, or just the simple knowledge that I'd been right. He didn't need me. He'd just gotten used to having me. How do you feel? Jenna asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Lighter, I said finally. Good. My phone was still buzzing. More texts, more calls, more guilt. But I didn't pick it up. I finished my tea. I opened my laptop. I had work to do. And for the first time in a very long time, my work felt like enough. The rest of the day passed in a strange kind of quiet. I had 2 more meetings. I answered emails. I worked on a proposal for a potential client. Normal work things. But my phone kept buzzing, and I kept not answering. And that felt like its own kind of work. By 5 o'clock, I had 23 missed calls and more texts than I could count. Jenna left around 6. She asked if I was okay. I said I was. I wasn't sure if that was true, but I was something different than I'd been yesterday. I stayed late, not because I had work to finish, but because I didn't want to go home yet. Home felt too quiet, too much space to think. Around 7, my phone rang again. Ryan. I almost didn't answer. But I was tired of avoiding it. Tired of waiting for the next call, the next text, the next wave of guilt. I answered. What? We need to talk. I'm working. Maddie, come on. You can't just ignore the whole family. I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm working. You know what I mean. I leaned back in my chair. Through the window, I could see the parking lot emptying out. People going home, normal end-of-day things. What do you want, Ryan? I want to understand what's going on with you. Nothing's going on with me. You hung up on Dad. You won't answer Mom's calls. You let Dad scramble to find someone to do his payroll at the last minute. That's not like you. Maybe it should be. Silence. Then, what does that mean? It means I'm tired of being the person everyone calls when they need something. That's what family does. We help each other. Do we? What's that supposed to mean? I stood up. I started pacing. I needed to move. When's the last time you helped me with something, Ryan? I help you. When? He didn't answer right away. I could hear him thinking, trying to come up with something. I helped you move, he said finally. That was 4 years ago, and you left after an hour because you had plans. Okay, fine, but you never ask for help. You always have everything handled. Because no one offers. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time Dad showed up to something of mine without me having to remind him 3 times? When's the last time Mom asked about my business without me bringing it up first? When's the last time you called me just to see how I was doing? I'm calling you right now. You're calling because Dad needed something and I didn't give it to him. That's not the same thing. I heard him exhale, frustrated. You're being really difficult right now. I'm being honest. You're being selfish. There it was, the word I'd been waiting for. Okay, I said. My voice was calm, flat. I'm selfish. Maddie, is there anything else? Yeah, actually, Dad's really hurt. He tried to apologize and you threw it back in his face. He didn't apologize. He said he was sorry I was upset. That's not the same thing. What do you want from him? I wanted him to show up last night. He made a mistake. He made a choice. It was one night, Maddie. One party. You're going to blow up the whole family over one night? I stopped pacing. I stood at the window looking out at the empty parking lot, and I felt something settle in me. Something clear and cold. It wasn't one night, Ryan. It was every night. Every time I needed someone and no one was there. Every time I did something worth celebrating and no one cared. Every time I helped and it was just expected. It's been my whole life. That's not true. It is true. You just never noticed because you've never had to be the one who shows up for everyone else. That's not fair. I show up. You show up when it's convenient, when it's fun, when people are already celebrating you. But you've never had to be the person who holds everything together. You've never had to be the backup plan. I'm not the backup plan. No, you're the priority. I'm the backup plan. Silence. That's not how it is, he said finally. But his voice was quieter now, less certain. That's exactly how it is. And I'm done with it. So what? You're just going to cut everyone off? Stop helping? Stop being part of the family? I'm not cutting anyone off. I'm just not dropping everything every time someone needs me. I have my own life, my own business, my own things that matter. And Dad's business doesn't matter? It matters, but it's not my responsibility. He's your father, and I'm his daughter, but he didn't act like it last night. I heard Ryan take a breath. When he spoke again, his voice had changed. Less angry, more careful. Look, I get that you're upset. I do. But Dad's going through a lot right now. His business is struggling. He's stressed. He made a mistake. Can't you just let it go? Why should I let it go? Because he's family. So am I. It's different. Why? Because... He stopped. I could hear him trying to find the words. Because you're stronger than he is right now. You can handle this. He can't. And there it was. The thing no one wanted to say out loud. I was supposed to be okay with being hurt because I was strong enough to handle it. I was supposed to let it go because Dad couldn't handle being held accountable. I was supposed to keep showing up because everyone else was allowed to be weak, but I wasn't. I'm tired of being strong, I said. Maddie, I'm tired of being the one who's always okay, the one who always understands, the one who always makes it easy for everyone else. No one's asking you to... Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're asking. You're asking me to pretend last night didn't hurt so Dad doesn't have to feel bad. You're asking me to keep being available so no one has to adjust. You're asking me to be small so everyone else can be comfortable. That's not what I'm asking. Then what are you asking? He didn't answer. I have to go, I said. Maddie, wait. I'm done with this conversation, Ryan. Just, can you at least think about calling Dad? He really does feel bad. If he feels bad, he can call me and actually apologize. Not apologize for getting caught. Not apologize because it's inconvenient that I'm upset. Actually apologize for missing the most important night of my professional life because he chose poker instead. He's not good at that stuff. Then he should learn. I hung up. I set my phone on my desk, and I stood there, breathing hard, feeling like I'd just run a mile. My phone buzzed immediately. A text from Ryan. "You're making a mistake." I didn't respond. Another text, from Mom this time. "Ryan said you're refusing to talk to your father. This is getting out of hand. You need to stop being so stubborn and call him." I stared at that text, stubborn, like I was a child throwing a tantrum instead of an adult setting a boundary. I typed a response. "I'm not refusing to talk to him. I'm waiting for him to actually apologize. There's a difference." I hit send before I could second guess it. The response came fast. "He did apologize. You're just not listening." I typed back, "He said he was sorry I was upset." That's not an apology. That's him being sorry he got caught. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "I don't know what's gotten into you, but this isn't you. You're hurting people who love you." I read that text 3 times. This isn't you. She was right. This wasn't me. The old me would have already apologized. The old me would have called Dad and helped with the payroll and pretended everything was fine. The old me would have made it easy for everyone. But the old me had stood in an empty office last night, staring at an empty chair, feeling invisible. And I was done being her. I typed, "I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm trying to stop being hurt." I hit send. No response came. I waited 5 minutes, 10, nothing. I picked up my bag, I turned off the lights, I locked the office and walked to my car. My phone stayed silent the whole drive home. When I got to my apartment, I sat in my car for a minute, just breathing. The day felt like it had lasted a week. I was exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with work. I went inside. I made dinner. I ate it standing at the counter because sitting down felt like too much effort. My phone buzzed once, a text from Jenna. "How are you holding up?" I typed back, "Still standing." "That's all you need to do today. Just keep standing." I smiled. It felt strange on my face, like I'd forgotten how. I took a shower, I got into bed, I turned off my phone completely because I couldn't handle any more texts, any more calls, any more guilt, and I lay there in the dark, feeling the weight of what I'd done. I'd said no, I'd set a boundary, I'd chosen myself, and it felt terrible and right at the same time. The next 3 days were strange. I went to work, I met with clients, I answered emails, I did all the normal things. But there was this absence underneath everything, like background noise that had suddenly stopped, and I couldn't stop noticing the silence. No calls from my family, no texts, nothing. I told myself that was what I wanted. Space, distance, time for them to think about what they'd done. But it didn't feel like space. It felt like punishment. On the 3rd day, Jenna asked if I'd heard from them. No. How do you feel about that? I was working on a spreadsheet. I kept my eyes on the screen. Fine. Madeline, I'm fine. You're not fine. You've checked your phone 6 times in the last hour. I had. I didn't realize she'd noticed. I just want to know if they're okay, I said. They're okay. They're just mad. What if they're not mad? What if they're done? Jenna leaned against my desk. Done with what? With me. They're not done with you. How do you know? Because you're their daughter. Because this is the first time you've ever set a boundary, and they don't know how to handle it. But they'll figure it out. What if they don't? Then you'll know what they're really made of. I looked at her. That's a terrifying thought. I know. That afternoon, I broke. I turned my phone back on. I'd kept it off since the night I talked to Ryan, but I couldn't stand not knowing anymore. 17 texts, 4 voicemails, all from the first day. Nothing since. I read through them. Most were from Mom, a few from Ryan, one from Dad. Mom's text started angry, then got worried, then went back to angry. You can't just shut everyone out. We're your family. You owe us more than this. I'm worried about you. Please call me. Fine. If you want to be stubborn, but don't expect us to keep reaching out when you clearly don't want to talk. Ryan's were shorter, more frustrated. This is ridiculous. You're acting like a child. Call Mom. She's upset. Dad's text was just one line. I don't know what else you want from me. I read that one 3 times. I don't know what else you want from me. Like he'd done everything he could. Like the problem was me wanting too much, not him giving too little. I set my phone down. I felt hollow. Jenna was watching me. What did they say? They're mad. Of course they are. Dad said he doesn't know what else I want from him. What do you want from him? I thought about it, really thought about it. I want him to understand why I'm hurt. I want him to care that he hurt me. I want him to show up without me having to beg him to. Have you told him that? I shouldn't have to. Maybe not. But he's not going to figure it out on his own. I knew she was right. But if I had to explain why missing my launch party hurt, he'd already missed the point. That evening, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. Ryan, I opened the door. What are you doing here? Can I come in? I stepped aside. He came in. We stood in my living room, awkward. Mom said you drove by the house, he said. I took a wrong turn. She thinks you wanted to come in, but you're too proud. I'm not too proud. I'm just not ready. Ready for what? To pretend everything's fine. He nodded slowly. He sat down on my couch without asking. I stayed standing. Dad's not doing great, he said. Something twisted in my chest. What do you mean? He's just quiet. He's not talking much. He's been working a lot. Mom's worried about him. Is this supposed to make me feel guilty? No, I'm just telling you. Why? Because you asked what you want from him. And I think what you want is for him to care. And he does care. He just doesn't know how to show it. That's not good enough. I know. I looked at him. You do? Yeah. I've been thinking about what you said, about how I've never had to be the backup plan. And you're right. I haven't. I sat down. Across from him, not next to him. I didn't realize how much you did, he continued, how much you've always done. I just thought that was how you were, capable, independent. I didn't think about how maybe you were those things, because you had to be. I felt something loosen in my throat. I didn't want to be. I know. I wanted someone to show up for me the way I showed up for everyone else. I know. We sat in silence for a minute. I'm sorry, he said finally, for calling your launch party just a party, for not understanding why you were so hurt, for not showing up better. I looked at him. His face was open, honest. This was real. Thank you, I said. I told Dad he needs to actually apologize, not just say he's sorry you're upset. Actually apologize for missing something that mattered. What did he say? He said he doesn't know how. That's not an excuse. I know. I told him that too. How did he take it? Not well, but he's thinking about it. I think he's starting to understand. Starting to isn't enough. I know, but it's something. I pulled my knees up to my chest. I felt young, small. I miss you guys, I said quietly. We miss you too. But I can't go back to how it was. I don't think anyone wants you to. Mom does. Mom's scared. She doesn't know how to fix this, and she's used to being able to fix things. She can't fix this. Dad has to. I know. Ryan stood up. I should go. I just wanted you to know that we're not done with you. We're just figuring out how to do this differently. I walked him to the door. Ryan? He turned. Thank you for coming. Yeah. After he left, I sat on my couch and I cried. Not because I was sad, not because I regretted anything, but because it was hard. Because setting boundaries with people you love is the hardest thing in the world. Because I wanted my family and I wanted my self-respect and I didn't know how to have both. But I was trying, and maybe that was enough for today. Mom said you drove by the house, he said. I took a wrong turn. He nodded slowly. He sat down on my couch without asking. I stayed standing. Dad's not doing great, he said. Something twisted in my chest. What do you mean? He's just quiet, working a lot. Mom's worried. Is this supposed to make me feel guilty? No, I'm just telling you. Why? Because you asked what you want from him, and I think what you want is for him to care. And he does. He just doesn't know how to show it. That's not good enough. I know. I looked at him. You do? Yeah. I've been thinking about what you said, about how I've never had to be the backup plan. You're right, I haven't. I sat down, across from him, not next to him. I didn't realize how much you did, he continued. I just thought that was how you were. I didn't think about how maybe you were those things, because you had to be. I felt something loosen in my throat. I didn't want to be. I know. I wanted someone to show up for me the way I showed up for everyone else. I know. We sat in silence. I'm sorry, he said, for calling your launch party just a party, for not understanding, for not showing up better. I looked at him. His face was open, honest. Thank you, I said. I told Dad he needs to actually apologize. Not just say he's sorry you're upset. Actually apologize. What did he say? He said he doesn't know how. That's not an excuse. I know. I told him that too. How did he take it? Not well, but he's thinking about it. Starting to isn't enough. I know, but it's something. I pulled my knees up to my chest. I miss you guys. We miss you too. But I can't go back to how it was. I don't think anyone wants you to. Ryan stood up. I should go. I just wanted you to know we're not done with you. We're just figuring out how to do this differently. I walked him to the door. Ryan? He turned. Thank you for coming. Yeah. After he left, I sat on my couch and I cried. Not because I was sad, but because setting boundaries with people you love is the hardest thing in the world. 3 weeks later, I was in my office early. Coffee in hand, phone on silent. Morning light came through the window. My calendar was full. 2 new clients. A proposal due by end of week. The business was growing. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. Can we talk? I didn't answer right away. Not because I was punishing him, but because I was in the middle of work. Because my time mattered. I finished my coffee. Then I typed, I'm free Saturday afternoon. Coffee? Yes. 2 o'clock? The place on Main? Okay. Saturday came. I got to the coffee shop early. Dad arrived exactly at 2. He looked older, tired. He ordered coffee. He sat down across from me. Thank you for meeting me, he said. I waited. Ryan said I need to actually apologize, so I'm trying to do that. He looked down at his coffee. I'm sorry I missed your launch party. I'm sorry I chose poker over something that mattered to you. I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't a priority. I felt something crack open in my chest. I didn't get the nights mixed up, he continued. I knew when your party was. I just thought poker would be more fun. And I thought you'd understand, because you always understand. That's the problem, Dad. I've spent my whole life understanding, making it easy for everyone. I know. Do you? He looked at me. His eyes were red. I'm starting to. Ryan told me some things, he said, about how you've always been the one we call, about how we celebrate him but just expect it from you, about how I co-signed his motorcycle but not your business loan. You remember that? I didn't at first, but he was right. I told you it was too risky, but I didn't think twice about the motorcycle. Why? Because I worry about Ryan, and I don't worry about you because you're so capable. But that's not fair. That's me taking you for granted. I felt tears start. I don't know how to fix this, he said, but I want to try. I don't need you to be perfect, Dad. I just need you to show up. I will. Not just when it's convenient. Actually show up. I promise. I wanted to believe him, but promises were easy. We'll see, I said. He nodded. That's fair. We talked for another hour. Small things. When we left, he hugged me. I'm proud of you, he said. I know. I drove home feeling lighter. Not fixed, but lighter. The next Sunday, I went to family dinner. It was strange at first, but we got through it. I didn't go back to how I was before. I didn't drop everything when they called, but I showed up. And slowly, they started showing up too. Dad came to my office one afternoon, just to see it. He stood in the middle of the space and looked around. You did this. I did. I should have been there opening night. Yeah, you should have. I'm here now. I know. It wasn't everything, but it was something. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't waiting for them to see me. I was building a life where I was already seen.